Hey everybody, this is Steve Winward, and today I want to show you a new feature that just shipped in AI Builder, which is in preview today, which is the ID Reader model. Now this is a pre-built model, which means you don't have to do any training to take advantage of this new model. What it enables you to do is you can take pictures of identification. So let's say a US issued driver's license. You can take a photo of that, process it with AI Builder, and that will then extract automatically metadata from that license. Things like first name, last name, date of birth, expiration date, which state issued the license. You can get all of that through the model. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you with sample US driver's license how you can do that and get started really quickly. I've also posted a solution file on GitHub to make it really easy to get started with everything you're going to see in this video. I also got the sample files from insider.com, so I'll reference that link in the show notes below. But what they did is they actually compiled a sample driver's license for all of the US states in the United States. That's where I got my sample from, and that's what we'll be referencing in this solution. So what we're looking at here is the AI Builder service in the Power Platform. And if you look down here, there's the new Identity Document Reader in preview. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to test this with one of the images that we downloaded from that site with the sample driver's licenses. So we're going to go to Upload New. And then let's go ahead and choose Arizona as a sample here. And now what it's going to do is it's going to process with the pre-built model against this image with the sample driver's license from Arizona. And then what we see here are a couple things. In the green boxes, it's the highlighted information it's extracting automatically from this driver's license. Things like the license number, the date of birth, the person's name, their address, the expiration date, and also the gender as well. And if you look here on the right, you can actually see in text all of the extracted information that I got out of here. It's detecting that this is an Arizona driver's license as well. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to now create this in a flow. So let's go ahead and see what that would look like. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new instant cloud flow. We'll say that in this case, we're going to manually trigger this. And I'm just going to add as input a file. We're now going to add a new step. And so if we go to the AI Builder actions, what we will see here is there's a new identity action. So go ahead and we're going to run the process and save information from identity documents. We're going to put the sample license file into this parameter. We'll go ahead and save that. And let's go ahead and test this with a sample driver's license. So we'll go ahead and test, manual, and let's go ahead and choose the file now. We did Arizona before. Let's go ahead, in this case, choose Arkansas. And we'll go ahead and run the flow. Okay, so the flow already succeeded. If we expand out this AI Builder step, what we'll now see are the same output that we saw when we were just testing that through the portal, but now we have the actual data. So the first name, the last name, the document number, and for each one of these values, we get a confidence score on that as well. So if you wanted to make automated decisions based off of the confidence number that you're getting from this image, you have full control to be able to do that as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at a more complicated example. What I did is I actually downloaded each of the sample driver's license from the website, uploaded them into OneDrive. Now, full disclosure, there are 3 states missing from here from this sample. I removed North Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia. I found that those samples, the image resolution was so poor that AI Builder could not process those correctly. So I did remove those. So instead of 51 sample licenses, there's 48 sample licenses here. And then I created a Power Automate flow to actually loop over all of those licenses and then process those. So let's take a look at what that flow looks like. This flow gets manually kicked off. I then use a action, which is list files in folder for OneDrive for Business. I specify the license samples folder that lives in OneDrive. The other subtle thing I did here, and one thing to keep in mind, this action by default will cut you off at 20 results. The way that you would change that is you click on the ellipses, you go to settings, turn on pagination, and then make sure the threshold is something higher than the result size you expect to get back. In this case, I expect to get 48, so I just set it to 100. This will then do paging automatically for you to make sure you get all of the result records back. You would then click done because I didn't make any changes. We're not seeing that. The next thing I do here is I loop over every single one of those files in OneDrive and then actually get the raw contents of the image itself. That then gets passed to the AI Builder step to process the driver's license record. And then the last thing I'm doing is I actually created a new table called driver's license results, and that will then store all of the output from the AI builder step. What I'm doing here is I'm storing all of the attributes it's pulling out of the driver's license, so address, country, date of birth, etc. But then side by side, I'm also storing the confidence score for each one of those fields as well. So we'll take a look at what that looks like here. So let's go ahead and test this. So we'll go ahead and click on test. We'll manually kick this off, save and test, and then we'll go ahead and run the flow. Here, what we're looking at are the records that got processed from AI Builder. So this is in the driver's license result table that I created, and you can actually see all of the information it pulled out of all of the licenses. So there's 48 records here, and then also the confidence score associated with each value. So you can kind of scroll down here, you can see all the different states. You can also see the ID number, first name, last name, etc. All of the fields that got pulled out are now here inside of the Dataverse. Here's an overview of a solution I created to try to make it easier for you to get started with this. Inside of here, I've got that custom table that we just showed, the driver's license result. I've also got a couple of flows to help you get started. Process single driver's license, that's the simple example we first showed, where you can manually kick off a single driver's license image, see the results of that inside of the Power Automate flow. I then have the other complicated one, which is process all sample driver's license. This is where we had the 48 states inside of OneDrive, enumerated all of those, and then got the results for all of them and stored those into the Dataverse. In order to get that flow to work, you will need to set up a folder in OneDrive, and you will need to configure this flow after you import it to point to the correct folder. I also created this delete previous license records flow. This is just a really convenient thing to have. If you're running this multiple times, you can run this flow. It'll delete all of the records in the driver's license result table. So for example, if you're testing around the process all sample driver's licenses flow, and you want to do that again, you could then just run the delete previous license records really quickly. That'll clear out your table. And then you could run process all sample driver's licenses again. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the comments below. Once again, the solution file with all the demos I showed in this video are available on my GitHub repository, and I'll put a link in the show notes below. So feel free to check that out if you want to get started really quickly with the new ID Reader feature in AI Builder. Once again, all the sample driver's licenses that I use for different states in the US are from insider.com. I'll make sure there's a link in the description below so you can also go there to get some sample images to get started with this new feature. Lastly, this is in preview, which means that there could be changes between now and when it goes generally available, but this is a really awesome feature to get started with and kind of see what it will look like when it is generally available. Until next time, thanks for watching this video.